Hello again, friends, and you are my friends, and welcome to your ITFC match preview show. I'm, of course, your host, Martin the Gov Lambert, looking forward to discussing big game coming up this Saturday. It is, of course, Southampton. I'll sit up until I can sort my webcam out, so it doesn't look like I'm shrinking down the bottom of the screen. But as always, like, subscribe, all that wonderful business, and get active in our live chat with your thoughts, your comments, your opinions, your predictions, all of it and everything, really, as we build up to this big game at home to Southampton. Don't forget, we are also partnered with the East Anglian Air Ambulance. If you want to help save lives and have the chance to win £1,000 every week, play the East Anglian Air Ambulance Lottery by playing for just £1 each week. You're helping to keep their yellow helicopters flying. The East Anglian Air Ambulance Lottery creates 18 winners, which is is that 12 more points than Southampton have got every week, with prizes ranging from £50 to £1,000. Over 18s only. T's and C's apply. Please be gamble responsibly. And of course, the link is in our description. Click it. And away we go. But as I say, please be gamble aware. We've got Simon Hall in the chat. Welcome in. Asmark, good evening, everyone. What a ride this season has been already. It certainly has. Get your thoughts, your feelings, everything in. Obviously, Harry Clark has left. He's gone out on loan to Sheffield United. We've had a message from George Edmondson this evening. What are your thoughts on those two transfers? One's a loan, one's a permanent, both departing the football club. No real solid information in terms of transfers in, but let us know who you want, who you think we need, a position we should target, all of that. And joining me first and foremost is Mark Tuxford. Mark, welcome in. How you doing?
Hello, Gov. You all right?
I'm very well, thank you. I'm very well. And you, are you all good in your country manner?
Yeah, not too bad, thank you. Yeah.
Good. And joining us as we build up to this big game. And is it a big game? Is that fair? Is that fair? Is saying that?
Yeah, I'd say it's probably near the biggest game of the season in a way, because it's quite important we get a win. So yeah.
Absolutely. Spot on the money. And joining us as we run through it is someone who's not been here for a while and we've missed him greatly. It is Ben Adams. Welcome in, Ben. How you doing?
I'm good, mate. And yes, it is an important game. It is a really, really, really important game this weekend.
Yeah, so huge game.
Let's do it.
Well, this is it. And it's hopefully the spirit we're going to fly out of the traps with it, Portman Road. But as it's January, the transfer window is still open. Let's start with the transfers out. First of all, Harry Clark, Ben, departing on loan to Sheffield United. What are your thoughts on that one?
When I saw the picture of him in the Sheffield United uniform, it was like your ex-girlfriend holding someone else's hand the day after she dumps you. It was like, oh, that was quick. That was quick. You blew. It was a weird thing. But do you know what? In every possible way, it makes sense. He's young. He's not getting minutes here. It's a position we've got a lot of options for, particularly with the people can interspace down the back. And he needs to develop. And I think as much as we love him, if he were to stay here, he wouldn't develop. He would stagnate. And the way that Kieran McKenna spoke about him, it seems like they're not getting rid. It's like we're preparing him. We want him fresh. We want him good. He's part of the plan. So a good move for him. Good team pushing for promotion. It can only make him better. And
he could have chosen either Sheffield club, Mark. He chose the Blades. But what a way to endear yourself to the home faithful. You got two choices, and obviously one of them is your rivals, and you choose them. It's a great way to start your Blades career, right?
Yeah, I think he's obviously joining a team that's on a kind of upward curve, if you like. They're probably a side that's probably not so good in the Premier League, but probably too good for the Championship. We've seen a lot of those sides over the years.
We could
one
be
one of those being obviously up the road there, but. Yeah, I think just following on from sort of Ben's comments, really, I thought it was really interesting to sort of hear what McKenna had to say about Clark, in that he's got a future here still. And I think it's probably one eye on that if we're in the Championship next year, he's probably going to be a fixture in that. I could sort of see him being a club captain moving forward and that type of thing. So I thought it was quite telling that, it wasn't a case that, he needs to go out and get football because, he needs to play football. It's that he needs to go out so he can then come back and be an important player again. So, yeah.
Yeah. Sharon says, does this mean the fist pump is no longer? Well, it's no longer at Portman Road, but it is obviously going to be probably, done plenty of times at Bramwell Lane, Ben. Oh, he's frozen. We'll come back to Ben in a moment when he's unfrozen. No more fist pump then, Mark. What do you think? Who's taking that mantra up for you? Who's going to take the fist pump duties?
Well, I think we've seen Jack Taylor do one. I think, especially after the Wolves game. And ultimately we've got to win games, Gov, to have the fist come back really. But it's one of those, isn't it? It started with Chambers, but obviously Harry Clark took the mantle on, and there's no reason why someone else can't do it really. But as I say, it's winning games to even get it out first and foremost.
Well, that's true. Yeah, I think it's a good deal involved for all parties. It's going to go out and get, as you both really eloquently said, going to get some game time in a team that's winning. Going to get some confidence, momentum back in, back after the injury layoff he had over the summer. And of course, it's a loan, so he's still our player. And we can decide in the summer, should the players get promoted, for example, and they'd be interested, do you want to cash in? Which division are we in, first and foremost? Or if not, you've got a player coming back to you that's hopefully played a lot of games, got that momentum back. And he's a good player on his day as Harry Clark. And, some people I was speaking to today, Tucks, have said, is he any sort of different or worse than Ben Johnson? That's a debate for a different day, but it's good that he's not departed full time, as it were.
Yeah, it's great that obviously he's still got the option to come back, but I think him in his own mind will be very much the case that if I play well for Sheffield United, then I can get myself back into the Ipswich team.
Exactly.
I think the only thing that sort of lets him down somewhat is that I said it really when we was in League One. I've always thought he was quite suspect with his defensive ability. That's not to say that he puts in a good tackle and all that sort of stuff, but I think generally his positional play sometimes is a little bit questionable. And he's obviously great going forward, but as a fullback, you've got to be good at defending. And I know Leif Davis has sort of come in for a little bit of stick with that recently, but ultimately there's a player there that will bomb forward and get assists. Harry Clark hasn't really got that as yet to his game. But playing in a good side at Sheffield United, getting a license to go forward, but also testing his defensive abilities will actually do him a world of good, I think. And I think, he needs to be playing regular first team football. So
yeah. Trevor says good luck to Harry, but tomorrow's not sure he's a Premier League standard. Jack Smith, Clark should be looking at triple promotion. Yeah, he's the promotion whisperer, possibly, should he win promotion with Sheffield United. While waiting for Ben, in case it was on private, because I had a video that we started, didn't we, Tux, last week, where it was still set on private for the first few moments. In case it was, don't forget we are partnered with the East Anglian Air Ambulance. If you want to help save lives, have the chance to win £1,000 every week, play the East Anglian Air Ambulance Lottery. By playing for just £1 each week, you're helping to keep their yellow helicopters flying. The East Anglian Air Ambulance Lottery creates 18 winners every week, with prizes ranging from £50 to £1,000, over 18s only. T's and C's apply. The links in our description. Please gamble responsibly. Ben, you're back. Welcome back. So you were mid-sentence, and then your internet just sort of...
Literally The Office, we spent thousands of pounds on, and the top click-tier Wi-Fi thing on the first show in months, and the Wi-Fi just stopped working. We're back.
We are back. We are. Right. You were saying about the fist pump. Far away before we move.
Another part of the culture that will be lost in the same way as kind of Wolfie at the back, Ladapo and Attack. All these little parts that's made our culture are kind of changing and shifting. So who's going to do the fist bump and how we change songs to fit new faces? It's kind of like the band's breaking apart, when new members come in, but it's never the original lineup. So it comes with a sadness, but it's a kind of a brutal fact of where we are, that it all makes perfect sense.
Yeah, that's really well put. It's a sad thing. We are seeing the back-to-back promotion squad, the promotion pack, slowly sort of be chipped away, and one by one. Another member of that obviously is George Edmondson, who's joined Middlesbrough. He's put a lovely message out on social media, which you can read on the screen if you pause it, but also going to the social media. I won't try and read it live just because it's white text on a background that sort of blends it in a little bit, and I'm going to stumble and trip over it. But George Edmondson departing, Tux, I started with you this time. Your thoughts on that one?
Yeah, I remember him being unveiled actually at the Coach United pre-season game when he joined with Connor Chaplin, I think it was.
True. Yeah, very true.
And I thought he would be a good player for us. I think largely, certainly when he first came to the club, he was pretty good. He got a run in the side. He's quite a solid centre half. And then I think he sort of suffered a few injuries here and there, which sort of kept him out. The emergence of, Burgess coming in and all that sort of stuff really sort of affected that, I guess. But ultimately, when he did play, and it was sort of surprised when he was playing, because there was a lot of times in League One, Championship, where, he'd sort of just come out of nowhere and he'd be starting. And I think that's a testament to a player that can come in and do that, especially when they've been out of the cold for, quite a few games, really. So, yeah, I think he's always held himself very well. Been quite a good ambassador for the club, I think, in terms of off the pitch sort of stuff. So, yeah, wish him well, because I think he's been a really good sort of player in the group as well. But on the pitch and off the pitch, he's been a credit, really.
I think to what Tuck says there, spot on, Ben, and he says in his statement as well, doesn't he? The foundation work, the work of the disability team. He's been a real great asset to the football club, not just on it, but off the field as well.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on it?
Part of that culture Kieran McKenna was trying to foster and build. He looks for two things in players, obviously ability, but character. And Edmondson had character. It's not without a degree of irony that the season when players seem to drop in out of absolutely nowhere and start games, he actually leaves. He'd have thought this would be a perfect season for him, because that's all he's ever really done. But I think you're right. Ill-timed injuries. I've always really liked him, actually. I think he's quick and he's got a good footballing brain and he's powerful. I just think we have better at the club now. And I think he's a very good championship level player. But I think that's where he's at. You could argue that's where our defence is at right now, technically, which is why we are where we are. But I think we have brought better quality, and I'll miss him. It's part of the journey. It's part of the whole reason we're here. It's another one gone,
and another one gone from that promotion pack. But another sign of the progression the football club is making on the field. Yeah. And it is disappointing. And you're right, he is a very quick player, as seen by the occasions McKenna sort of used him over the last 2 years, where we come up perhaps against a pacey striker, and Edmondson was sort of parachuted in to sort of deal with that at times, almost out of the blue. I think it was Plymouth at home where he was sort of parachuted in out of the blue, and it was to deal with the pace, it felt like, of the Plymouth front line. And you're right, he's done it really well. And those injuries though, ill times, if it is a good time to get an injury. And talking of injuries, sadly, Wes Burns, although no new update, or that's not really new. The club like to keep injuries, close to their chest. Nothing's ever really said about anything. But it does beg the question, Ben, in terms of Wes Burns' injury. It looks bad live, looked worse slowed down, could be a long-term one. Window still open. Is that an area you're looking to go and get somebody, or do you feel actually, following the arrival of the Brighton player from on loan, whose name suddenly escapes me, and of course Philogene, is that an area you're okay with?
It's a tough one.
Seesaw.
In Seesaw. It's a tough one because Wes has not had a great season, but he has been better the last couple of games. So badly timed. I don't think it's an area we have to strengthen. I'd rather spend it where we desperately need to, which is a number 9 or a striker. Spend the extra 10 million. It's a shame. The looks of the injury and the history, you're looking into next season potentially before he's back into any kind of fitness. That was brutal, and I feel bad for him. Again, it's another one you're not going to see, and who knows, we might never see again. I mean, imagine we actually stay up and we spend another 20, 30, 40 million in the summer on that position. You might never see him again, so that could be it. But it does kind of force Amari out onto the right, filling that gap for our new player. So it's a hard one. It's a real hard one. I've always felt we've been actually quite weak down the right. We've never had it quite there. But I never really did think at this level Wes Burns was the answer. It's a shame, but it's not terminal.
Mark, your thoughts?
For me.
Obviously the injuries are a shame for him, because I think in recent games he was sort of trying to pick up a little bit of form recently. Yeah, he did look better, but I don't know whether some of that is that he was trying to learn more about the fullback role, and I know he's played there before, but he's been more defensive, which I think sort of suits him sometimes. But I think it sort of depends in terms of replacements and stuff. It sort of depends how or what formation we play moving forward, because I'd be very surprised if we go to Southampton on Saturday with a 3-5 at the back, whatever you want to call it,
Yeah.
I'd be, I'd be looking to go 4-2-3-1 again, and try and get some goals and obviously the win. So, from that point of view, would Burns have been starting that anyway? Because, you probably want maybe an Amari on the right or one of the two new signings on the right. And then you've got Axel come back and would fit quite nicely in the right back slot, really. So, I don't know if it's something that it would impact this Saturday, especially if we go to that formation again. But he's obviously been a fantastic player for us since he's joined the club. He's certainly one of the most exciting signings I've seen under the game changer era.
Yeah.
And it's a shame that he's got the injury, because it stops him with the Welsh stuff now as well, doesn't it? He's obviously got into a lot of their squads now, and that was sort of put it back a bit. But I don't think it would have affected us as much coming into the weekend. But it's a shame for him in a way, because, as I say, I think he has shown a bit sort of better form, I suppose, of late. Because he has had a bit of a tricky start to the season. I think it's a case that you're coming up against better opposition, obviously, aren't you? So I think he struggled a bit, but shame for him, really.
Yeah, big shame, because obviously he also misses out on the chance, if it is season ending, to join that limited club that scores in League One, the Championship, Premier League, etc. But we wish him nothing but the best in terms of his recovery. Moving on to the weekend then, Southampton on the horizon. How big of a game is this? I've got a few comments while you both just mull that over a little bit. We've got Owen that says, evening all, going to be a tougher than some people think on Saturday. Let's well and truly go for it. Goals galore. He says Ipswich 4, Saints 2. Mike says, is it a must win or a mustn't lose? Owen says, must win. We need maximum points. All right, I'll start with that one. Mike Baker. Ben, is it a must win or a mustn't lose for you?
Well, it's both. But we have to win. Because I'm going to say, if we're not beating Southampton, who are long gone out this league, at home at this stage of the season, we don't deserve to stay in the Premier League. We're not getting points from anywhere else. We know this. We've had 3 wins all season. I think we're going to end with 5 wins, or maybe 6. This has to be one of them. They're a team bang out of form. They're scoring goals, but Christ, are they leak goals. There's no reason for it not to be a must-win. This is coming into February now. This is not like late November, early December. We have to win. And if we don't, then we don't deserve to be here.
Is it a must-win or a mustn't lose, Mark? Is it fair to say if you don't win Saturday, you're not condemned to relegation, but you're certainly waiting for the ladies to sing?
Well, yeah. I mean, if you go back to the reverse fixture where we, burgled a draw, didn't we, through Morsey's goal?
We did.
We was all sat there, and and Southampton weren't great then, and it was one of them where you thought, right, we need to win this because they're a team that's in and around us, 6-pointer essentially.
Yeah.
So, from that point of view, it's disappointing. So to then now come, full reverse really, in the sense that we're now playing them at home, it should be a must-win. As Ben was saying, it's one of them where they are leaking goals. They don't score a great deal. But I do think it's going to be a tough game. I think it's going to be one of them where I don't want to say that our team would sit there and think we can just roll them over and beat them, but there is an element of that. Yeah. And I think it's a case that we, as long as we don't, fall into that sort of pitfall, really, then we should be all right. But I think it probably should say a lot that I know we played Brighton, City, Liverpool, and not scored. I know we scored obviously with Greaves at the end there, but really we've not really put goals in the net, so that's concerning in a way. And I know it's 3 big teams, but still we haven't scored many recently. So it's a must-win in my opinion. Because even if you get a draw, what does that do? It doesn't do anything. We're not moving anywhere. So must win.
And Everton have just turned the corner. I cannot see us outscoring Wolves this season, but that's a bigger conversation. Leicester, they've been on terrible form. All of a sudden, they had a win out of nowhere. It's not looking so bleak around us anymore for other teams. So this is a must-win, just because a couple of other teams are just starting to get a little bit of momentum, which often happens late in the season. You think the season we went down from the Premier League, we won something like 9 of the last 12. So, late in the season is usually quite good for teams that are kind of desperately trying to survive. But that includes all the ones around us as well. So we have to be better than them.
Well, this is the thing. I think you hear a lot of fans at the moment being like, "Well, we only need to be better than 3 teams," and that's true, obviously. But we can't rely on what other people are doing. We have to start putting points on the table ourselves. So, and starting obviously with that at the weekend, and I can't see anything other than a win, to be honest with you, because that's what it should be on paper. But we know that football isn't played on paper. It's more of a case that we're sitting here at the moment and we're desperate for the win, if anything. And the only place we think we can get it at the moment is at Southampton. So, yeah.
What would you say to Graham Hodges here, Ben? Absolutely must win, and convincingly. Is it a game you have to win convincingly, or just a game you have to win at full stop, Ben?
Just win.
That's a great question. Win convincingly, I think, would be ideal. Although I would say at this point, you just have to get the 3 damn points on the board. I think the only reason you want to do it convincingly is because we've leaked 11 goals in the last 180 minutes of football. And that's a goal every 14 and a half minutes. So we have got to. I was worried about the confidence going in here. And I think Southampton can act as a springboard if we do win convincingly. But kind of at this stage, I don't really think I give a fuck. So we just need 3 points.
I think he's right as well, don't you, Tuck? It could be a 1-0 off someone's backside for all I care. Just
if it's an own goal in the 5th minute and it's VAR'd and all this thing. I don't care. 3 points. We get it somehow by hook or by crook.
And I think fans that perhaps are viewing this game as a game that needs to be a convincing win. Tucks obviously look at the league table. 6 points Southampton. Yeah, they've been poor this season. Doesn't mean they've not played well in periods, but it just casts your mind back to the last time they played us, St Mary's. They really, by all accounts, probably should have walked out of all 3 points that day. They hit the post. They had a couple of gilt-edged chances that one Hewitt saves 1-on-1. They were arguably, if not definitely, the better team that day.
Yeah, well, they're not silly either. They're looking at Ipswich and probably Wolves as well, sitting there thinking, well, if we are actually going to do anything, we need to pick up points against these types of sides. So, that I think gives you a bit more in your belly to, sort of go for the win in a way, or play better, so to speak, because you're coming up against players that probably are in around your sort of level. It's not like it's with us last week where we're playing Liverpool. We know we're going to lose. It's more a case that they do have a chance, I suppose. So that's where it's a bit of a dangerous one. But from our point of view, we look at Southampton, like most of the teams are in this league, saying we should beat them. But you never know.
And they've got nothing to lose, Ben. Coming into the game, 6
it's
points.
Dangerous, isn't it? I know. I know. It's like when a team throws the kitchen sink at you and they're 3-0 down after 70 minutes. It's really dangerous. But I do think, there is a thing of momentum. And don't forget the game after that. I think it's a game after. It's an FA Cup game. Now, we should win that one. All of a sudden, you've got 2 wins on paper. And again, that breeds a little bit of confidence. But it starts at Southampton. And it's it's strange. I always like to think, how will I feel when I'm walking out of here? When I walk into a stadium, I think, how would it be to walk out of here with a loss? Sometimes you think, Man City. We know we're not walking out of here with a win. If I walk out of Portman Road on Saturday, sorry, I'm getting over a chest infection, so dry throat. If we're walking out after a loss, I will actually be at peace. Funny enough, because then I'll know that we shouldn't really be here. Not yet. It did, in fact, happen all a bit too quickly. Because if we're not putting away Southampton, who are rock bottom, who are nailed on relegation fodder, name a team we're going to beat who's not them. And there is none. There is no team that's not them that we say, we should be beating them if we can't beat Southampton. So it's a must win. And I just don't think there are any excuses. We spent £135 million on players. It's time for the people we spent money on to show up.
Which echoes similar comments. I think one from Mike D. Mike D says here, massive trap game, Gov. Absolutely nothing to lose. We've got everything to lose. And while I don't necessarily echo all of your thoughts there, I certainly wouldn't be at peace with it. I'll be sick as a parrot walking out of Portman Road if we've not come out with 3 points, because it will feel like a real big blow to survival. Still plenty of football left after it, obviously. Still Wolves to come, still Leicester to come, but it would make Tucks those games against Arsenal, Man United, Chelsea, Villas. so much more, because you're suddenly going to have to pull another Chelsea result out of absolutely nowhere, because this is, not a home banker, but you're getting towards that territory.
Yeah, and I suppose in a way you think about it, and with Southampton, it depends what their game plan is. Are they going to sort of make us frustrated, and that they will put 10 men behind the ball and then start to play when we're on the counter attack and all that sort of stuff? So, I don't know. And your point about games to come, you sort of struggle to sort of figure out where we're going to get these sort of wins from. And okay, yeah, we've beaten Tottenham, we've beaten Wolves and Chelsea and teams like that, but I don't know if it's a flash in the pan, or we was actually
Wolves are shit. Anyone can beat Tottenham. Chelsea was a good game. So out of that, I would say the true magnificent result of the season for me was Chelsea, because they are in good form, because they are a great team, and yes, we had a great day and they had an off day, and that's the combination it's going to have to be this season for wins. Yeah. Spurs, everyone's beaten Spurs, doesn't count. Wolves, that was a good result, because a bit like Southampton, they're kind of in the same position than us, and they're feeling the pressure, but they've got more pressure because they're embedded in the Premier League, and you can argue they've got a lot more to lose because they built the squad over years and years. So for me, we've had one truly incredible result of the season, which was Chelsea,
and one good result, which is Wolves.
And a good result, which was Wolves, and Spurs were being Spursy. Southampton could beat them 4-0 at the moment, because that's the kind of season they're having. But I think we need to do 3 or 4 more Chelsea results to survive.
You might need 5 if you don't put out a result this weekend. That's
why we have to win it.
Well, yeah, I think to your point, to put Ben's point earlier, where you see in previous seasons, previous teams that are fighting relegation, they do seem to put a bit of a run together towards the end of the season. I don't know why that is. A lot of it is obviously because you think, right, I need to pull my sleeves up now and let's go. But you're seeing teams like Everton who, a little bit of a manager bounce, but they seem to be putting wins together now. Palace is sort of out of it now for me.
Yeah.
And then you've got like Leicester, who will probably, for me, I still think they've got a decent side for kind of where they are in the league.
They've got Vardy. We don't have a Vardy,
and that's what it is. It's kind of having that sort of killer instinct, really, and I think that's what we kind of lack a little bit. But I can see them sort of pulling the odd result out here and there.
But funny enough, though, we've got Spurs to come, so there's a guaranteed 3 points.
Yeah, but as Mike D says, they'll have some players back for that. Might have a new manager by that point. Although I don't think they probably will. They might do. Who knows where the results are going at Tottenham? And in answer to both of your points in regards to Ben raising it, a team finding momentum, and then you building on it, Tux, I think it's just a spark. I think one team at the right time, which is the business end of the season, because you see it in the playoffs. You see a team gate crash the playoffs, and they usually go up via the playoffs normally, because they're the team entering it with momentum. It's the exact same thing, but in reverse in terms of survival.
Good point.
It takes one game, one spark, one result, be it a backside 1-0, that then you go on and build up for a second win. There's suddenly that team, lightning in a bottle, and they're gone. And that's what happened to Palace. Now, obviously, Palace did it a lot earlier, and they're now safe. But when we played them, way back when, these were two teams bang out of form, inside the bottom 4, couldn't win a game, to save their lives. Palace won that game, and that was it. Spark, and they went, and they've never ever looked back, and they'll be safe for another year, and they'll build on it. And they've got a good manager, and yes, they've got good players, and yes, they're an established Premier League team, but you still need that spark. And maybe Everton have got it now, having recorded some good victories recently. I hope to God Leicester haven't got it. Because after beating Tottenham, and I know everyone can say, everyone beats Tottenham, but it's just one result, one result where you're not expected to, or it's a good result, or even just a lucky result. Just one result can turn a season because it can build on it. And that's kind of where I said on Sunday, the fixture's not been kind to us, because we've not had those.
I was going to say that. I mean, I know we all play everyone, throughout the season and stuff like that, but it's kind of back to back that we've had, certainly 3 big teams like Brighton, City and Liverpool. And I sort of wonder, because, the games previous to that, we had a win, and then we beat Bristol Rovers in the cup. And you'd think that maybe if we was playing, I don't know, say a Leicester or someone who's probably in the lower reaches of the league,
on more on your par.
Yeah, that we could have got a few more wins out of that, and the confidence would have breed from there. But I suppose it's just unlucky that you then come up against the two best sides in the league, really, back to back. So
yeah, but even this one, you got Southampton, and then it's met afterwards by Aston Villa. Then you've got Tottenham, then Man United, then Palace, and even like Wolves, for example, you're suddenly met with Chelsea, Arsenal.
On form-wise, that is not a bad running. Aston Villa aside, they're having a good season, but Spurs, okay, they're Spursy, but they have a couple of players back, so that's an anomaly. Man United, who are, Jesus Christ, they're in turmoil at the moment. Wolves, okay, you might think that's winnable at the very least. Crystal Palace, they've come away from it, but they're vulnerable because they have been. There's spicier fixtures going into February and March, so it's certainly not fucking Liverpool, Arsenal, and Man City. So if you actually look at the form and what we've got coming up, I'll be probably more resigned to our inevitable fate if we had the teams like Liverpool and Man City coming up in 4 or 5 games. So it might be a good thing to just
that's the positive in a way, is that at least we've got Liverpool and City out of the way. So if we do look to build a run of results together, we haven't then got to sit there and think, oh Christ, we've got City coming up.
We've only got one more guaranteed not win coming up, and that's Arsenal. But so that aside, you could
you've got Chelsea and Newcastle.
Newcastle turned over, didn't they? Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. All right, let's do 1 to 11 then. Heading into the game, who in goal? Obviously, last week was Christian Walton. Does he keep his place for you two gentlemen, or would you bring Muric in? Ben, who's in goal for you Saturday?
There is no problem for which Muric is the answer. Next position.
Tux.
Yeah, I'd agree with Ben with that.
I'm on my own then. I would bring Muric back.
Really?
In, personally. Yep.
Is it his good decision making?
I think he makes poor decisions sometimes, but he's the better goalkeeper for me. A
Lamborghini goes quick, but it can't turn the fucking corner.
Which would be an issue, yeah.
And it needs to.
There's been a couple. Yeah, it's really tough after 2 back-to-back games against City and Liverpool. And neither heavy defeat was down to the goalkeeper. Could he do better with the Liverpool first goal? Yeah, probably. Could he do better with the Brighton first goal? Yeah, probably. I just think when they're on a parity and and you can make an argument for and against, I'm turning back to the goalkeeper we brought in for big money, who's made some big saves when he's needed to.
A lot of love for Muric in the comments.
Actually,
in the comments.
As I'm talking, Colin says Muric, Mike says Muric, Hamish says Muric, Mike D says Muric.
Absolutely baffling. I don't get that at all.
Colin says Muric is better than Walton.
I would still say Walton personally, just because I do get where you're coming from, Gov. I do think that in there is a good goalkeeper in a way, but at the moment I just don't think the confidence is there. But saying all that, I do fully expect Muric to come back in at some point. I don't think he's not played his last game in the Premier League. I think he'll come back at some point.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Tux, you've already said your formation for Saturday's 4-2-3-1. So what is your back four, please?
Axel right back, O'Shea centre half, Burgess and Davis, I think.
Okay. Ben, are you playing a back 3/5 or a back 4?
I think a back 4, yes. But interestingly enough, sounds like a very strange thing to say. We need to be defensively very good on Saturday. So I'm going to do a bit of a controversial one, and I'm going to get a lot of a disagreement. I would take out Davis because he is our poorest defender at the club, and I would put in Townsend. Based on what I saw. And it might just be great for Davis as well.
Mark, your thoughts on Ben resting? I'll put it.
I can see where you're coming from, because I think the games, or the very little that I've seen of Townsend play, he's obviously offers more defensively.
He looks really good, though. He looks really good.
What I would be saying is that if we're looking to win the game, you want your best attacking threats on the pitch, in my mind. And Davis always starts for me.
Yeah, no, I'm with Mark on this one, particularly as as it's a game at home against a team that's got 6 points in the league, bottom of the table. I want one of my primary attacking outlets, and that's Leif Davis. And to surprise many, I've gone back and forth on this in my own mind all day long. I would stick with the back 3 personally for this one.
So
fully
who would
go
the back three be? It'd be Greaves, O'Shea, and Axel.
Greaves. Yeah, or Godfrey. No, I'd probably go Godfrey over Axel. Let's ease Axel back in
Forgot about
gently.
Godfrey. You're right, actually.
So
You're
I'd
right.
go Godfrey, O'Shea, Greaves. 2 wing backs would be Johnson and Davis.
You're right, because we don't really know a lot about Godfrey. It's hard to judge a Porsche when it's up against a Ferrari. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Fair enough. That's good.
Yeah.
I know I said Burgess earlier, but I would have said Greaves. I just momentarily forgot about him, but I would stick with Greaves.
No, that's fine. That's fine. And it's a surprise many. As I say, I've gone back and forth in my mind. Do I play a 4-2-3-1? Do I go with stick with the formation that we've...
Bearing in mind, Southampton score goals even when they lose, and we're susceptible to having a goal against us.
Well, yeah, as we go into midfield, I just think you can't, just having a back three doesn't mean you have to go to a back five, or equally doesn't mean it's got to be defensive. If you get your midfield two right, that can be just as attacking as a 4-2-3-1, but with perhaps a little bit more of a foundational platform defensively to build from, and not be so susceptible to counter attacks. Because in my mind, and it might be wrong, we have a lot of the ball on Saturday. We do a lot of the probing. We do a lot of the pressing, but you still want to perhaps have that foundation in which you're not going to get sucker punched. I've gone backwards and forwards on it, but midfield, Tux, your midfield two is.
Morsey and Coyote, I think.
Morsey and Coyote. Ben, for you, and your 4-2-3-1, your midfield two is?
Yeah, for me, Morsey's no longer a guaranteed starter, although saying that you sure as hell notice when he's not on the pitch. But I think for Southampton, Morsey and Coyote, definitely.
Okay. Yeah, so you've both gone Morsey and Coyote.
Yeah, no question.
Trevor says you can't drop a fit Davis. Yes, to play. We've been very blunt with the extra attacker. Without the extra attacker, says Mike D. Also, Inciso must play in the 10. Okay, yeah, that's fair point. Hey, it's the team I would like, not the team we're going to see. Remember that.
And there's usually a difference for all of us with that.
Huge difference. My midfield two would be, and this is the team I quite would fancy seeing, not the team you're going to see. Would be Taylor and Coast. That'd be my midfield two. That would be my midfield two. Give me energy, give me mobility, give me explosiveness, give me the ability to turn on the ball like Coast does, but also equally have someone like
he's
Jack
a funny
Taylor.
Player, Taylor, and he's a funny player. He no matter what division we're in, he can't get in the team. But when he comes on in the Premier League, he looks fucking better than what we've got. It's so weird.
He's an explosive midfield player, Ben, and he's a player that isn't afraid to have a shot, which is great, particularly when he does unleash it. It is normally a hell of an effort.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
But it's more about what he can give me. As I'm sticking with the back three, Taylor in that midfield just gives me plenty of explosiveness, plenty of energy, up and down. Great, love it.
I read a funny post on the forum, and I read it. I thought, "What the hell are you drinking?" And then I drove to work, and I started thinking about it. I thought, that's not as crazy as I've ever heard to stick Leif Davis as a midfielder. And the more I thought about it, the more I thought, well, if Richard Naylor can go from a attacker to a defender, that is not a terrible. It's funny ideas you have when you're kind of struggling to find the right players for the right positions. He can't defend for shit, and most of our goals come through him at some point. So it's not too much of a worry midfield. But boy, can he pick a pass, and boy, can he run. And boy, does he have he can pass to a player in front of him. Weirder things have happened in football. Just
absolutely, I've been floated many times. But to flip it, the team I think we'll see will have Morsey and Coyote in midfield. That's who I think we'll go with.
Yeah.
And I don't see Morsey, being rested or whatever phrase. Back when I was a kid, it used to be dropped was the word, but rested or whatever you want to say for this game. I don't see it. But if I was picking the team, I just, with the back three. But with Morsey playing, I want a back four. I'm abundantly clear.
Yeah,
if we're playing Morsey and Coyote, I want a back four. Yeah. Stick that extra attacker in. Release that handbrake. All right, midfield three ahead of those two for you then, Tux.
Incencio in the middle, in the 10. I think Amari on the right, Philogene on the left, I guess. I wouldn't be too surprised to see Broadhead, but I guess you've got to give these boys a game, really. So I think, Philogene.
Yeah, Ben.
We have a lot of parity tonight. I can't disagree with any part of that. I cannot disagree with any part. Amari will be there for the rest of the season, which I like. Yes, we have to give our new boy, because everything I hear about him, sometimes you need is he going to be our Marcus Stewart January signing and turn a bit of a needle for us? And he looks like he just might be. He's got 1 assist already, for Christ's sake, so he played for 20 minutes. And Philogene on the left. So, yeah, great shout. Can't.
Mine would be in a back three formation, Amari and Jaden. In a 4-2-3-1 formation, the three you two have mentioned. It all depends on what that formation is going to be. But if it was going to be a 3, I'd probably start with the front 3 I started with last week. If it's a back 4, then I'd start with the 3 you've mentioned, and that means the laps up front for all of us. Agreed? Or is somebody resting him?
No, not tomorrow.
No?
Not on Saturday, rather. No.
Excellent. No. All right, score predictions then as we round up the show. We've had a great show. We have some parity, some disagreements, but it's been a great show. Thanks for joining me. The score prediction then, and don't forget we are live again. Well, not live. I'll rewind that. Don't forget we are back tomorrow for Meet the Opposition. Matt will be sitting down with Martin from Southampton, and then back again live. Post-game, win, lose or draw. We'll be live from Sir Ralph Ramsey statue to discuss what we've just seen. And we are partnering with Stowmarket Osteopaths. Give Freddie a call, 01449 613 633. Don't live life in pain. Give Freddie a call. He's the governor there. Tell him the Gov from Talking Town has sent you. Right, score prediction. I'll go with you first, Mark. Your score prediction, please.
I'm going to agree with Colin Plum.
3-1.
Oh, yeah.
3-1. Ben?
I'm going to do something. I've just got this weird fit. All my reservations aside, how we have to win, I do think that we will. I'm going to go for a 4-1. Or maybe even a 5, because I think it's a team that is ripe, that when they feel confidence, I think we've got it in them to take the right team apart, and I think that'll be Southampton. So 4 or 5-1.
Okay. I'm going to say 2-1.
Tight.
We are going to have,
Yeah, I think it will be tight. I do think it will be tight.
We are going to have a player emerge to be this year's Jeremy Sarmiento.
And Cisco, his magic, It
could be him, could be Jaden.
Yeah.
Obviously, could be his full home debut. It will be somebody. If in my score prediction, the 2-1, somebody's going to be the Sarmiento of this year.
Somebody write their name into folklore. That the ink is wet and the page is empty. Come on.
And the North Stand will sing Southampton, it's happened again, which they like to sing. It could be anybody, but we are getting a little habit against Southampton of scoring late. Morsey at their place this year, Sarmiento our place last year,
and they'll know that too.
I could just see it, 1-1 heading in, final few minutes, and somebody just some way, somehow, could be a thunderous strike, could be a glorious strike. Could just be an Aaron Drennan special.
Don't make this awkward for me. I don't want to get an erection on a podcast. Don't make it awkward for me. Wonderful.
There you go. Right, we're done. That one there is a peaky one, Mark Tuxford. This one here is Ben Adams. It's been great to have you back on the show. Thank you so much for watching. As I say, back again tomorrow with our Meet the Opposition live after the game. But until then, take care of yourselves. God bless. Good morning, good evening, and it's a good night. Bye-bye.
You make me smile when I think of you. If I get down low and I get blue, I can't get enough. Hopeless lover. You make me happy, I feel so fine. Oh, how I wish that you were mine. I can't get enough. Hopeless lover. Hopeless lover. I woke up all soaked in sweat, weird chills running down my neck. I'm going crazy from just the thought of you. A long blonde hair.